Benny, bring me everyone.
What do you mean, everyone?
Everyone! I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
Barry Manilow know that you raid his wardrobe?
Let me explain something to you. I am not Mr. Lebowski. You're Mr. Lebowski. I'm the dude.
No one is to stone anyone until I blow this whistle.
You can't fight in here. This is the war room.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Hello, welcome to Zedos Gang, podcast number 105. Today's podcast, we will be talking about Chicken Run 2 and the voice cast. Donnie Yen confirmed Sleeping Dogs is still on the cards, and Batman Forever extended cut, and much more. Today, I'm joined with Ken from Creative Control.
How do you, peeps?
Amrita Colliette.
Hey, guys.
And Ben Lewis.
Hello.
Hey, how are we all doing, guys?
Very good.
Good.
Good, thank you. Yeah.
Good, cool. All right, so first up, Chicken Run 2 faces an ageism controversy.
No, it really
how do we feel about them recasting Mel Gibson and who was the other woman in it?
Julia Swahala.
Yeah, she's kind of like piped up over this, that like she's been recast and that like her voice still sounds the same and that it's an ageist thing.
It's got nothing to do with age. It's because she's irrelevant. He was last in Absolutely Fabulous in like 2016. She hasn't done anything else. She's just not marketable. And being in a kids film, and Mel Gibson isn't either. That's not going to attract the audiences for those kind of kids films now. So it's just not going to work. She's blaming it on the ageism thing, and you know, she's finding her corner. Fair enough. Who knows what was actually said to her? I think, you know, if they said we're going for a younger actress, then she's obviously thinking age as opposed to younger, a more relevant, somebody who's in, you know, in the sort of like spotlight more. But yeah, I mean, seeing her name on the poster now, anybody under the age of probably 30 is not going to know who that is.
But the thing is, with animation film, especially Chicken Run being that well, I don't know actually, because it's an older film, isn't it? How many people really are into Chicken Run? Like, I think it's a good film. It's part of Aardman Animation, but they've always been kind of hit and miss.
It was 2000.
Yeah, it was 2000, yeah.
20
so
years old.
20 years ago.
Mm.
I mean, Mel Gibson.
I feel like this is the point, though, that the reason that they do remakes of any kind is to try and entice, like, bring the audience into a whole new generation, which makes sense.
I mean, like, Mel Gibson, you know what it is? Mel Gibson's got one of those distinctive voices, but then if you got like a good impersonator, which there are many great voice actors out there, I'm pretty sure they could get like that done. You know what I mean?
But I don't think they're even going to go for that, because it's just, it's 20 years ago. So yes, it's the same characters. How much is it actually going to reference the previous movie? Who knows?
Exactly.
It takes place the very next day.
Right.
In that case, it should be Julia, because you know people that have seen it 20 years ago know it's Julia. But she's not the main person, so she's not selling the film really. She's like, I'm guessing, further fulfilling. I have to admit, I never saw the original Chicken Run, so to me, I'm just generally talking. But if it's set the next day, then they should keep it for those. You know, I think she's still on Loose Women in the daytime, so you've got the housewife family there that can go along and see it. They, you know, like her tone of voice and personality.
I kind of agree with that, to be fair, because if you imagine if they ever do like a marathon of the two together, of two films, but imagine they do that and then someone notices like, what the hell, the character's got a completely different voice. That is an issue. I don't personally like that as an audience member.
And then they know the backstory and they're like, oh, so whatever the reason was, it does come across now as an ageist thing because she's 20 years older.
Because, I mean, one good example that fits in my mind here is if you're thinking about, like, Wreck-It Ralph, for example, when it was Breaks the Internet, and they had that whole Disney scene with all the princesses. I personally love that scene, but all of those voice actresses were the same as they were in the original Disney animations. So there's no need to do that if it's the same sort of argument that you're going to try and refresh it for a new audience. You can do that just by changing your script and making it something that will still appeal to them. And kids, let's be honest, kids don't care who's in a film. If they're really young and they're watching an animation, they just want a fun film.
They do, but if the parents are going to be the one taking the kids, yeah. So if it says like Mel Gibson and some people may not go see it just because of the things that he said. That would be me. There is kind of that stuff as well. So his voice is going to be a lot more gravelly than it is now. So is it a case of, is it better just to not worry about the continuity in terms of the voice as opposed to the name on the title? It's if you think about what was one of the last ones they've done was like Early Man or something. That had Eddie Redmayne, Tom Hiddleston, Maisie Williams, so it has some recognizable names and stuff like that, even though it was a concept which was brand new. So like new characters and stuff like that. Chicken Run, again, yes, it is a sequel, potentially, Chicken Run 2, whether they'll call it something else, but people are going to see it as it's a stop motion. It's just going to look fun. And unless you're watching them back to back, I mean, how many people know her voice? Who's going to who's going to think, oh wait, that doesn't quite sound the same. No one's really going to matter about like Julia Sawalha. Mel Gibson, you can maybe argue a little bit, but it's not the name on the poster that's going to get people in. If you look at all the animation movies these days, every single trailer is all the names. Here's who's here. Here's the voice. Here's the voice. Here's the voice. They need to pack it with recognizable names. And
I have to say that for Mel Gibson, like a Mel Gibson fan wouldn't go and see Chicken Run.
That's right.
I like films, and I never went to see Chicken Run because it wasn't it was an animation film that just happened to have his voice, and so I think he's okay to replace. But Julia, there should be some loyalty.
No loyalty in Hollywood.
Yeah, true.
Is it even? I thought it was an English production.
Yeah, it is an English production, but it's American money. American funding. True. So, there's always a studio that's backing up the production company. And in this case, I don't know who it is. Does it say?
I'm not sure who their distributors are now.
Arguably, would it even be the same anyway this time around?
Yeah, I can't see anything on the initial report unless I actually delve deep into the net, which I'm not going to.
Should deserve royalties at least then.
But no, I mean, I'm kind of 50-50 on it. I'm a huge Mel Gibson fan, but you are right then. I mean, like most Mel Gibson fans won't go, "Oh, a Chicken Run," you know what I mean? Like,
we'll go and see Bloodfather.
We'd go see Bloodfather or Lethal Weapon.
You're not going to go see
Mad Max or something.
You're not going to go see that film because of his voice in it. You want,
exactly.
You Mel Gibson, you want to see him on the screen.
Yeah.
So if you're taking your kids to see it, it's not going to make a bit of difference.
Plus, Mel's not exactly family friendly these days, man.
I'm literally going to go out here and just say I cannot stand Mel Gibson at all.
That's a shame, Amrita, because he's fucking amazing at what he
but don't get me wrong. As an actor,
totally get it.
I can tolerate his work. Like I think he obviously acts quite well. We used to. But as a man, I find him despicable, utterly despicable.
And
on the same level, I find Trump, and that says a lot.
Wow. Any hatred Gibson gets, he deserves it because, he's a grown adult, he's responsible. I've heard the recordings of what he said. I'll still watch his films, but it's not right. And it does, there is a kind of something in the undercurrent when you're watching his films. And that's why you like it when he plays it. You like it when he plays a trashy psycho because that's how you know he's an alcoholic. So if he plays an alcoholic, perfect.
Yeah. The only difference is when you have a movie like the Shaun the Sheep movie, was it Farmageddon? I don't think that had any recognizable names in it, but I think it's because he doesn't really speak, as far as I'm aware.
That's right.
Yeah, he doesn't.
And so that was a movie which is a lot more visual, based on his visual comedy, than it is the others. The other Chicken Run is all about the conversation. It's all about the dialogue. So therefore, you need sort of like the more recognizable names for it. So, but I think she's just kicking up a fuss because she needs money.
I think that's we can all agree that it's not ageism. No matter what we think it is, it's not ageism, really.
She needs work. Okay, moving on. Okay, so what we got next?
Batman Forever.
Okay, so last week, writer Mark Bernardin, I'm pronouncing his name wrong, I'm totally butchering it, but he's one of the writers of Star Trek Picard and Castle Rock. He he says he has it on very good authority that a 170-minute cut of Joel Schumacher's 1995 superhero blockbuster Batman Forever exists. Warner Brothers are unsure if there's a hunger to see the movie in a much darker tone, more in tone with the Tim Burton films, and whether people actually want to see Batman Forever as a director's cut. I'll lead this off because you know what? I'm not a fan of Batman Forever. I'm not a fan of Batman and Robin more so. But you know what? Forever had good elements in it, which I think we can all agree. I personally think Val Kilmer was the right man in the wrong movie. Val Kilmer's a fantastic actor. He would have made a phenomenal Bruce Wayne stroke Batman if given the right material. I didn't like the neon light Mardi Gras version of Gotham that kind of like went back to the 60s TV series, because the whole point of the Burton films, I had a discussion online today with a friend of mine who totally loves that film. And by the way, people that like have seen this movie and love it, look, you're allowed to. It's fine. This is just my personal view kind of thing, you know, growing up with Batman. I get it, because this film was a lot of people's first experience to Batman. You know what I mean? Like I got a few friends that love this film and they won't hear a bad word against this film. And that's fine, you know, because Val was a very good Batman in that film. And, you know, everyone played their parts well in that film. I just felt it had screenplay issues and pacing issues and just a bit, you know, it just wasn't my Batman. It was probably the first film where I thought, hang on, wait, that's not Michael Keaton. Do you know what I mean? You know, when they changed the actor, for me, this was that film when they changed the actor and I was like, no, that's not Batman. And it just wasn't my Batman. And I've looked at it since and I can acknowledge that Val Kilmer is fantastic in the movie. But that aside, I felt Tim Burton really moved the series forward in terms of bringing the darkness of the books onto the screen. You know what I mean? And moving it away from the TV show I grew up with, you know, as a kid, you know, and it was like, this is what movie version is like. You know what I mean? This is what the movie should be like. And then Joel Schumacher came around, and it's not his fault. Joel Schumacher is a great director. He's done many good films, and you know, he got given the torch under Warner Brothers when Tim Burton stepped out. They needed a director to be a yes man to them. So obviously, the TV show, the animated show, was big in the zeitgeist. So Warners were like, we need to make this for the kids. So he was basically a yes man that did what the studio wanted. And you've got what Tim Burton did, which was art, because that was his version, his vision of what Batman was. And now we've got the McDonald's Coca-Cola version of Batman with Batman Forever, and then even more so with Batman and Robin, because those bat nipples were there to sell action figures and make the ladies feel all sexy over Val Kilmer and George Clooney, respectively. And I just, you know, if there's a extended cut of Batman Forever and it's more darker and less studio interference-y kind of stuff and more character-based stuff, showing Bruce Wayne's tortured soul into why he dons on the suit and stuff, because those are themes that are hinted at within Batman Forever that are never fully explored. And if you're telling me there's a darker version of the film with more of that, I say sign me up. I want to watch it because I want Val to get his, man. Val Kilmer deserves love, man, and that guy just fought cancer and he talks really weird now. So to Val.
No, I agree. I think that, like you said, the studio, well, it wasn't necessarily the studio that was unhappy with Batman Returns. It was the product company. So it was McDonald's, Coca-Cola. They weren't able to shift the toys and the merchandise in the same way that they'd wanted to, because it was a lot darker. And so, you know, that's why they were pushing Burton to do something different with the third one. And he was just like, no, this isn't what I want. So yes, they got someone in. I think there's some very nice moments, you know, in terms of the script where you have sort of like the Bruce Wayne moments with
Chase Meridian.
Yeah, Chase, stuff like that. You know, and they're talking about the mask and they're talking about these kind of things. For the first time yesterday, I saw this cut deleted scene from the movie where Val's in the Batcave and he comes like face to face with this huge, massive bat. And it was a lot darker. It was a lot more psychological. I think the difference what can make with the movie is, one, you can't do much. You might be able to change the palette of the movie a little bit, but like you said, so much neon in it, especially when it comes to like the Riddler and all that green and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But one is the music. It was very comical music in parts.
That's right. I mean, Jerry Goldstein's score was not, that was very comic booky.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
they should have
kept the main theme some places. The actual score throughout the movie is very comical. You could change a lot of the tone of that movie just by the music.
Yeah, by bringing back Danny Elfman, man.
Yeah, and you could you could definitely rescore that, and it's it's something that actually I would really like to see. It'd be interesting to see if someone just took like the Riddler's scenes and changed the music score overlay, and he'd probably sound a lot more sinister when he becomes in and like that. But I wanted to see more Jim Carrey cable guy as opposed to
me too.
the Jim Carrey we got.
Not that he was bad. I mean,
he was
pretty
bad,
good.
I think he was probably the right actor of the role at the time.
Oh yeah, totally.
But he was almost given too much freedom with it, maybe.
But it wasn't him. It wasn't anyone in particular. It was the treatment overall that I think was just not what all of us wanted.
The sets look really cheap. Like you said, Gotham looked really cheap.
Yeah.
Aesthetically, is really poor visually when you go back and watch those films. It looks like everything is kind of made of cardboard. It looks like a real sound studio, that they filmed it on. And that takes you away from it. But I mean, it did have some good potential themes. And 170-minute cut. Wow. Just who knows what that could lead to.
I think the way I see it is like, obviously the first one, the Tim Burton #1, that was a game changer. Because that was the first time that Batman was presented like that on the big screen. And that's it. It was like dark. It wasn't it wasn't aiming to be family commercial. It didn't have like a great big cheesy soundtrack like Part 3 did when it had U2. But yeah, like you said, Joel Schumacher was there as a yes man to tick boxes. So he's like, okay, who are the biggest actors at the time that are close to winning Oscars? Tommy Lee Jones worked with Schumacher before. Fine. Get him in, make him Two-Face. Jim Carrey, the biggest comic around at that time. Fine. Riddler.
Yeah, he was coming off a real good streak of movies as well with The Mask and
Warner Brothers.
Ventura,
they were all Warner Brothers actors at the time that were doing well for Warner's, and so it was just really a run of the mill sequel that ticked the boxes, and it's just there. Then
that's also why Michael Keaton never came back. He was like, okay, so Tim's not in it, and then they offered him a lot of money to come back, and he was like, no, thank you. He's like,
but I think there was an issue with the billing, wasn't it? He was going to be like second or third billing or something like that.
Yeah, there was that as well. They wanted to put
Jim Carrey like at the top of it.
Yeah,
I think
because that's a bit of a shame because like he took second billing from Jack Nicholson at the time, but then Batman made him, and then he was top billing for Returns. It's like to take a step back from that. That's like a bit of a.
But what it did give us was Kiss from a Rose.
Yeah.
But you know what though, that how I feel about the movie aside, that is one bitchin' soundtrack, man.
Yeah,
I own that soundtrack,
and that's how they won. That's how they.
Good. Yeah.
And the film didn't make it, but the soundtrack did. So that film still made it in the sense that the merchandise did.
Yeah, it still lives in everyone's memory, definitely.
Yeah. Had that U2 song playing at the end.
Oh yeah, hold me, kiss me, thrill me, kill me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, hold me, thrill me, kiss me, kill me. Yeah, you too.
That's the one. Yeah.
That's a tune.
That is a tune.
Yeah, I mean, I admit, I did enjoy it. Like, I just didn't think of it as a Burton-esque film at all. I just completely disassociated it to it and just watched it as a standalone, and it was enjoyable, but it didn't have the heart that the previous two films did.
Yeah, I think I actually struggled with Chris O'Donnell. I didn't like him as Robin.
Really?
Yeah, I think that was kind of off-putting for me.
He was weak. He was a weak Robin. And the
script.
He had a bad script.
Yeah.
When they put in the holy, there's a hole there, Batman. Oh,
yeah, but I think he was actually too old for the role at the time. I think he was a little bit too old for it. I didn't get his, the death of his parents. He was trying to do this kind of teenager
And he's clearly 30 years old.
Yeah, he was trying to show this teenager vibe, being stroppy and trying to go out and do things that somebody like lashing out would do. It just wasn't believable from him, and let's not talk about Batwoman or Batgirl, Batman and Robin. Jeez.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe they saw potential in moving forward, like maybe spin-offs like Nightwing and stuff like that, because he did drop that name when he's talking about a name for himself.
Totally,
stuff like that. But I think for me at the time he was miscast. Like I say, a lot of the other actors worked, but for me, he wasn't
I've never really thought about it because I haven't gone back to watch that in a real long time. Because I always thought he looked the part, to be honest. But it's true when you think about it. Robin's supposed to be a teenager, and he is clearly not a teenager, even though visually, aesthetically, he does look the part of Dick Grayson. He would have made a better Nightwing, definitely.
Yeah.
But yeah, I haven't seen that movie in like a decade, so I don't know. I've seen clips on YouTube, but yeah, I don't own it.
I think that's the thing, though. Like we would still, the question of would it be worthwhile having the director's cut? I think yes. I mean, in what world is the audience really going to be like, no, do not show us this?
Yeah, and
we would want to see it.
Oh man, HBO need that content. All the director's cuts out on there, man. It's just like no other studio can do it. It doesn't have to be a cinema release. HBO Max.
And Schumacher
was at Warner Brothers. Give me an animated version of Tim Burton and Nicolas Cage's Superman Lives with Nick Cage voicing Superman, and I'm there, baby. I'm there. I want to see all that weirdness, with Nick Cage Superman. It would be jokes. But you know what? When they draw Superman, don't draw him like Superman. Actually draw Nicolas Cage, but wearing shit, because that'll be jokes. It'll be jokes. Make it happen. Make it animated. I'm there.
I'll be there too. Nicolas Cage doing pretty much anything. I'll be there.
I think Schumacher, it'll be a nice tribute for Schumacher to see this. Even if it's not as good as people want it to be, it was just nice.
Yeah, because it goes to show that he was trying to make up for it for the fans. Because you know what? I think Joel Schumacher himself even says on the DVD, like on the Batman and Robin DVD, he apologizes for how bad that movie is throughout. And I'm like, dude, you don't have to. Fair enough. You took a job and it didn't go the way you wanted. You're still a good director. There's, you know what I mean? There's loads of films that he's done, which, you know what I mean? You don't need Batman in your corner, dude. And the fact he went back to assemble a cut that long, I mean, I don't think they would have rescored it with a different score. Personally, they'd probably use the score that they have, especially if it's a director's cut, because that means more money, etc., towards that particular project. But if such a cut exists, I want to see it. So,
yeah. I mean, because I think with the extended cut, you'll probably see a bit more of a backstory to Two-Face, because in the cut that you get, it's very minimal. I think you see a little bit of a clip of on the TV of like the courtroom scene and stuff like that, and it just kind of goes in, and he is who he is. Obviously, you see the origin story to Riddler, and he's like the focus of the movie. But yeah, you could definitely see a little bit more about Harvey Dent, and because I don't think they really made it the Harvey Dent from the original two. I don't think there was really a connection.
No, because the original Harvey Dent was Star Wars' Billy D. Williams.
Yeah, that's it. So I don't think they referenced it at all. It's like he was like this previous attorney. I mean, maybe this was lawyer or a district attorney. I think they may have.
Billy D. Williams is proper butthurt over that, man, because he was like, I want to play a bad guy.
Yeah, but I mean, he, to be fair, Schumacher, did a lot. He brought a lot of things into the universe at the time which he hadn't seen before. So these new characters, you had, he brought in like Arkham Asylum and other little things, and I mean, I guess he tried to bring some continuity in the films that he did. I mean, even though they were poor, it was a case of 1 and 2, they don't link so much other than Batman. Do you know what I mean? But he tried to carry other things throughout in terms of the like Robin and the progression of those characters through those movies and stuff like that. But
Burton's ones were kind of standalone compared to Schumacher. Schumacher at least tried to, because he tried to do he really wanted to do a third one, Batman Triumphant.
Yeah.
And Batman and Robin was not triumphant.
Nowhere near.
No. Do you know what though? I enjoy Batman and Robin for all of the campness though.
And the set was amazing. Like, even though it was a terrible film, to appreciate what was designed, that part was great.
Yeah. Cash is in hysterics.
I'm just thinking of Arnold Schwarzenegger with like his cigar and his little polar bear shoes.
Oh, the puns in that movie.
Yeah, the puns.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh,
yeah, but that's the thing.
The dinosaurs.
It was so exciting. It was such an exciting film for like just how camp and over the top it was.
Yeah,
It's
I
fun to watch
think
on,
I
like,
died
you know.
inside when he brought out the Batman credit card. I think that's Batman and Robin. I think that's when it all went wrong.
Oh man, and what they did to Bane.
But if you think of the quality of actors that were in those Batman movies, like Uma Thurman and Schwarzenegger and Tommy Lee Jones, and Carey and stuff like that, you just think, geez, they actually got some really top talent at the time, Warner Brothers. It just wasn't what people, not that what people didn't want. I think it's also aged really badly. I think as well. I think at the time you could probably been a little bit more forgiving with it, but it's also aged very badly. And now it is sort of like that pun kind of thing. And looks like what, we've spoken about other podcasts, looks like they're going to bring Keaton back as his Batman in the future projects. They're going to dismiss 3 and 4 as in that's going to be their own thing. And we'll see more of Keaton. So.
Thing is, you could just tell as well, like with Schumacher, he's a great filmmaker. If it was his baby, like if he was given the first one, maybe he'd pick Michael Keaton, maybe he'd pick Kiefer Sutherland, who knows? But he can do dark. He's done Flatliners and he's done Lost Boys. So he could go dark. But yeah, with these ones, he just rushed. It was just like, hurry up, make it. We've got
really funny,
a holiday to me.
It's really funny though. I remember, other than Tim Burton, the studio were really interested in Sam Raimi. Sam Raimi almost got Batman.
That would have worked.
Dark man. Yeah,
very dark man.
Well, that's why he did Darkman. And the other thing was Sam Raimi's first choice for Bruce Wayne was Pierce Brosnan.
Mm-hmm.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Now, I could see it, but I just can't hear it. I can't hear. I can't. You know what I mean? I don't think he has the Batman or Bruce Wayne voice.
No.
Like I can't. I find his American accent really bad. But the second choice that Raimi had, and this, to be honest, when I think of this actor, he should have been a Batman at some point, and he just never was. Alec Baldwin.
Yeah.
Alec Baldwin would have been perfect. Mm-hmm. Even now, he could play an older Batman.
True.
In a different iteration, but yeah, he would have been perfect.
He's amazing. He has that kind of that suave, elegant sophistication, and the age actually is on his side. I think because he brings that man element into the role.
Yeah,
and he still has it now. He's like an Oscar-winning father material now, but back then he was smooth, like Getaway.
Yeah, if you think sort of like Hunt for Red October, wasn't he?
Yeah, Hunt for Red October.
That kind of time.
Crying, yeah.
Definitely.
Okay, next up we have director Lee. I'm going to butcher someone's name here. Director Lee Whannell. Okay. This guy directed The Invisible Man that just came and gone this year. Really good film if you haven't seen it. He's set by Universal to direct the new reboot of The Wolfman, which is starring Ryan Gosling in the title role. What do you guys think of this choice of director, and what do you think overall about The Wolfman?
Do you think it's going to be a Blumhouse production?
I think it is a Blumhouse production.
Then I'm for it.
Yeah, I think Universal have learned by spending lots of money on Tom Cruise and The Mummy and Dracula Not Told, Untold, that they were really bad ideas. I mean, they were trying to force this shared universe thing. They tried to start with Dracula Untold, that flopped. So they were like, okay, that's not the start of it, but let's do this Tom Cruise thing. And that really, I think Tom Cruise got the memo that it was like a Mission Impossible, and he got excited and then realized, oh shit.
Tom Cruise too much creative control.
Exactly.
Yeah, it just went a bit crazy and a bit like, I think it sucked. And that's rare for me to diss a Tom Cruise film, because usually he strikes gold, with the exception for Jack Reacher 2, that can get out. The Invisible Man, that was really good. I felt this year. By the director of that RoboCop thing.
He did Upgrade.
Upgrade, that's what I meant, because it's the story of RoboCop.
That's a fantastic film, Upgrade.
Yeah,
if anyone out there hasn't seen it yet, it really, really good. Great action sequences, and I mean, the man's talented. I really enjoyed Invisible Man. I thought it was really, really good. Really creepy elements to it. Good suspense. It was done on a relatively low budget. It looks like, bar obviously the effects it would have taken to remove that person from the scene and stuff like that. But with green screen technology now, it's probably wasn't that hard. It's probably just a guy in a green suit, and they just removed it quite easily. It's, I thought it was really, really good. Upgrade's fantastic. He's actually got some other works coming up as well. So they're actually doing an Upgrade TV series, which he's going to be a producer on. That's in the works, and he's also up for the Escape from New York reboot.
I don't know how.
You can't do Escape from New York.
That's kind of like in a pre-production stage as well. So apparently he's going to be doing that. So in terms of the Wolfman, Ryan Gosling, I think they're touting.
I like Gosling.
And I think that'd be cool. Maybe he'll take on Joaquin Phoenix kind of take to it, probably go really method on it and stuff like that. But I think it could be fun, and they can subtly rebuild this dark universe without it having to be these huge blockbuster films, a little bit more low-key.
Or they can do the Marvel approach, because when I say the Marvel approach, how they built the universe, you start off with individual films for the audience to like them for what they are, have a subtle kind of crossover that isn't too in your face, and then build it slowly where it organically kind of works. When crazy stuff happens, we can be like, oh shit, right, that makes sense because of this X, Y, and Z. And rather than do what Warner Brothers did and shove everything in the toy box in our face.
So no surprises.
I mean, like, I like the idea of Russell Crowe in The Mummy, but that movie was just turd. it was just so turd. Just didn't know what it wanted to be.
I am crazy excited about this. Like, I can't even pretend. I loved The Invisible Man, because the way that it was done was so tasteful. I don't know if any of you have read the book, but it was slightly different. Like, it was a different take to the book, but it was a very, very smart modernization of it. And the tone throughout, I agree with Ken, it was really creepy and a bit unnerving, especially the whole theme of it being, like a battered woman type of thing.
It was really psychological. It wasn't just
very psychological.
Very psychological.
And on top of that, I love Ryan Gosling. I think I'm yet to see him act badly in a film, in any of his films, and I think I've seen every single one of them. And he is incredibly method when he wants to be. And I think this will be a really good test for him to play like a much darker role, not just something like Only God Forgives, which is a bit, crazy, but a dark role. So I'm excited.
I think it sounds good. I mean, hopefully, like Lee's previous work, like The Invisible Man, like you're saying, it was good. It was up to date. It was kind of a bit, like you said, it was kind of domestic abuse, Me Too elements, and also the psychological aspect as well. That people not believing her, and even with the film, it was kind of teasing like, oh, well, we could go the other way if you want, and make it that she's imagining it. So it'd be good if they modernized Wolfman too. Not that because of Benicio del Toro, they tried that. I imagine they stayed true to the authentic material, but I felt it didn't work. I don't know generally what the feedback was.
Remember the Jack Nicholson Wolf?
Yeah, that was good. If they did it like that.
At the time, I remember really liking that. I haven't watched it maybe since the cinema, but I remember. Was it Michelle Pfeiffer in it as well?
Yeah, it was Michelle Pfeiffer. That was the film where people were pro him as the Wolverine.
Yeah.
And you know what? Okay, forget Hugh Jackman aside. If we're just going by the comic books, I actually think Jack Nicholson would have made a sick Wolverine. Because one, he's short enough.
Yeah.
Two, if you gave him the sideburns and stuff, he would have the look, you know.
I mean, he already kind of looks like a wolf, let's be honest.
Yeah, exactly, man. Jack Nicholson would have fucking owned that. It would have been a different animal, man, but like, boy.
Yeah, I second that.
But yeah, roll on.
So, next up, Idris Elba was in talks promoting his new TV show called The Long Run, and they asked him about Luther, about the next season of Luther. If you guys followed the show, it's a British TV show. It's fantastic. I absolutely love the show. And Idris has been a huge champion of bringing this to the big screen, along with the show's creator. And yeah, it looks like there are talks about a big screen version of Luther. If you guys have seen Luther, how do you guys feel about a big screen version? I'm excited because I just think it will bring that amazing show to a new audience. And if done right, it, you know what I mean? What I like about it is everyone wants to put Idris Elba in a different role. Do you know what I mean? They're like, he should be the next this, he should be the next that. No, fucker. He should be Luther.
And he made Luther, yeah.
He made Luther.
Yeah, exactly.
Luther is his. He don't need no one else's shit. He's got his own shit, and it smells great. You know what I mean? What motherfuckers should be talking about is who's going to be the next Luther. And you know who? You know what? Like I say with Harrison Ford and Indiana Jones, no one. Okay, Idris is Luther. Bring on the movie. Introduce it to a brand new audience. Get an A-lister as the bad guy to sell the movie to everybody else, or hell, have an A-lister come in as his new boss. You know what I mean? Head of police, get like, I don't know, like, who's a big A-lister that could sell the movie? That's British.
Ray Winston.
There we go. No, he's not A-lister. No, someone big. I don't know. Pierce Brosnan. There we go. No, not relevant. I like Pierce. Daniel Craig. There we go. Go through the Bonds. Go through the Bonds. We got there. Everyone knows Daniel Craig. He's hot at the moment. Bond, Knives Out. There we go. Have him in there. In fact, make him the bad guy. There we go. Head of police. Tough him out. Luther can fight Bond, and it'll be awesome because Luther's a boxer as well, so you can box him up. And yeah, wicked. Done. True. I've written this thing. There we go. Have you guys seen Luther? Are you excited like me?
I've seen. I love it. I think it's one of the best. I'm not a fan of the BBC. I will say that outrightly, but this particular show is one that I think has been essentially brilliant from the beginning. Yeah, and I actually think it's criminal how underknown it is.
Yeah, that's right.
Not just even in the UK, but I mean internationally as well. Idris Elba, I totally agree. He's become a household name, and it's sad that it's for many other reasons other than his acting, which actually he is outstanding on in Luther. And yeah, I'm all for this. I think it will be an incredible opportunity for him, not just to reach an international market, but to really showcase what he can do with his acting chops. But it will be great for us to see more of that character that we love, that's so flawed as well.
The best thing that I liked about Luther was people watched it and were like, Stringer Bell has an English accent? And it's just like, people actually realise he's a Brit. And, you know, he played the character of Luther with his natural accent. And, you know, the character's edgy, as the show is, sometimes violent. It works great on TV. I am a bit iffy as a film, because they did that at Spooks, didn't they? And I saw it in the Spooks, in the film, whatever it was called. It was okay, but I think it works better as a TV show, that kind of, you know, traditional TV show where you watch it weekly.
This is the thing. I mean, adapting British TV shows to the big screen, they never usually get a good transition over. I think, you know, Luther's a good character where you could do something unique with that. It's just whoever they get to film it has got to have the mindset that it's a movie and not just another episode, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%.
That's the trap of most TV stuff when they're a continuity, because it could alienate, you know, people that aren't familiar with the show, if that makes sense. So it's just really about like finding the right casting for whoever the supporting characters are, or even the villain. That's what I say. And go big, get a big name for that villain, for that police officer that could be in there, that could be, I don't know, new chief of police. I'm just saying that as an example, you know, because, you know, Yeah, or even get an American name in there. I don't know, or a big Chinese name. Hell, let's explore the Chinese market, man. We're in England. We're multicultural. We can go anywhere, man.
Yeah,
Luther'd be sick.
I'm kind of similar with Ben. I don't think this is going to work as a movie. Luther's very much about the psychological aspect of the character, and I don't think you're going to get that narrative over the course of a movie as well as you do in the TV series. You need to understand his hardships to understand why he does what he does. And again, if you're trying to introduce that to a new audience, they're really not going to understand. They'll just think he's a bit of a dick. So it would be a fine balance. I'm all up for, additional TV series and stuff like that. I know that some people, people who are familiar with it, actually love it, in America. My cousin, she's a big fan of Luther over there as well. It's on, it's not on like many cable networks. I think it's on like BBC,
World, whatever,
yeah, over there and stuff like that. And they're like, oh my God, we just don't get this stuff over here, on those kind of channels. And, it is a London thing, if anything, I would be thinking completely outside the box, and I'd have him cross over into Bond. So instead of having...
he should be Bond.
No, see, I don't want him as Bond because he's like the good version of Luther. And it's just like, I don't want to see that. Okay. I would actually rather see Bond having to do more street level stuff and actually have to work with Luther.
That would be cool as well.
And have that kind of dynamic. And then, maybe then step Luther up into a 007 agent, and then he can be Luther is 007. It doesn't have to be James Bond. Have his spin off into that way. But that's way outside the box. But yeah, for me, I just don't think it's going to work as a movie. I don't think it's going to attract the audience that they would hope for, unless it was like a Netflix movie.
Yeah,
If they
Netflix is a good platform. That's a really good idea.
Because I think they've got Luther on Netflix.
Yeah,
and that's where Idris Elba, if he wants to do this, should be going. He should be going for a feature length on Netflix. You can see the series, watch the movie, and do it that way. So that's what I think they should do with it.
I think there's a danger of, in my mind, as you were saying that, Ken, I think there's a danger of it becoming, like, screenwriting wise, as a very episodic thing. Because like Sash said, it's difficult to translate from an episode into a film in terms of not just the way you film it and everything, but the dialogue and the style of it.
Yeah.
And I think that is where they would struggle. But I think Netflix is a great shout because you kind of can afford to be a more in between on that platform.
Yeah.
And he's already somewhat of a household name on Netflix. He's already done loads of other things on there. So yeah, it would work, I think.
Okay, so moving on. Chris Hemsworth, in an interview, he says he intends to bulk up bigger than Thor for his role as Hulk Hogan in the Hulk Hogan biopic. How do you guys feel about Chris Hemsworth playing Hulk Hogan in a biopic? I think this is going to be fucking interesting as fuck. That's what I think.
I'm not sure I get this.
What you gonna do?
It's gonna go one or two ways. It all depends if they're gonna go for a light comedy version of this, or if it's gonna be sort of like more dramatic. I don't think Hemsworth would be taking on this kind of role for the dramatic part of it, because I think they're going to keep it very light. The issue with this is the amount of characters and wrestlers and stuff that surround Hulk Hogan that you're going to need to cast. You're going to need to have Ultimate Warrior, Andre the Giant. You're going to have sort of like Mean Gene, the commentator, a Vince McMahon character. There's so many iconic characters that are going to be around this. They'd have to be very clever at casting that. There's a lot of stuff, behind the scenes. It's very much like, drink your milk, eat your vitamins, and, the 24-inch pythons and all those sound bites. But, there's a lot of talk, about his steroid abuse, the fact that he fell out with Vince McMahon and went to court with him, the fact that he got banned from WWE for his racist comments, and then they had his sex tape leaked, and he's just only come back into WWE. He got stripped of Hall of Fame, and then they got reintroduced. I don't think they're going to be touching on anything like that. I think it might be a little bit of sort of like the up and coming to the point of where is the height of his popularity, and maybe that's it, unless they do go the full hog, and see his come down. But until you kind of understand what the tone of it is, I think it's going to be a very difficult film.
I must admit, I've got a question that I'm wondering if is it going to be produced by WWE or is it going to be separate? Because if it's by them, it'll be a tongue-in-cheek, ignoring all the serious controversials.
Yeah, I'm not too sure who it's by.
But I think as a performance, he'll do very well. Like he played in Rush, he was brilliant. You know, he had the accent spot on. When he does put himself into character and play that part, he does a good job. And we all know he's already close to having the physique, so going the extra mile shouldn't be too much of a challenge.
Yeah, he definitely could. I think he could play the role. Yeah. And I agree that he definitely can act the chops when he puts hemself in that role. Rush was incredible. But I just don't know. Like, part of me just thinks, has he just got this because he's blonde? Like, he's slightly bigger. I just don't know if this is the right exact fit, but I think it does come down to the tone. Ken is spot on here. It 100% depends how they're going to treat this.
I mean, the way I see it is because the director, I see as being serious. I mean, it's Todd Phillips, so, you know, you got The Joker, A Star is Born, you know, but he's also done, but, you know, he did produce like The Hangover and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, so he has got both parts in his locker, you know, maybe it'll be both, but... yeah, I have no idea what they're planning on doing with this.
I'm worried that they will try to do both as well.
Yeah, that's what I feel.
Yeah, one of the writers also did Stronger with Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yes, good film.
Yeah, that was like John Polo. And then you got Scott Silver, who did Joker and The Fighter. So there are actually some, you know, especially when it comes to The Fighter, that was a biopic. So, and that was a very serious thing. So it's like, if it's along those tones, it can actually be really gritty and can be really interesting. That's what I'd rather see. I actually don't want to see a tongue-in-cheek because it's just too similar to what you see on WWE. What I want to see is the guy struggling behind the camera and then having to put on the face, you know, to come out to all the kids and stuff like that, and just see maybe the turmoil we had like off screen and all the injuries that he had, and you know, and
you want to see what we don't see already, which
and
is
all the backstage conflicts he had like with Macho Man and all that kind of stuff. So, but like I said, there's a huge amount of characters they're gonna have to cast well in this movie.
So it's going to be. Do you want to see someone that's similar to Mickey Rourke's The Wrestler?
Yeah, I suppose.
Yes, exactly.
Like that journey. Yeah.
I think I want someone who seems a bit more broken as well. Like, to me, Hemsworth is obviously, as a female, he's a very attractive, like Adonis type guy who has obviously got the physique for any type of physical demanding role, but I just don't feel like there's enough kind of brokenness and battered down element to him. Whereas, you're spot on. Mickey Rourke was amazing in that role, and it is because he's somewhat tired by this point. Like we've seen that transition him as a person as well, and I feel like someone like that maybe needs to play this. Unless this is a side we've just never seen of Hemsworth, that he can absolutely channel that type of, I don't know, tired, frustrated, like battling continuously with your life, like kind of element. I don't know.
I tell you what I want to see in this movie is I want to see a de-aged Sylvester Stallone having a conversation with him about Rocky 3.
And Mr. T turns up. Mr. T could play himself probably.
Yeah, probably.
That'd be jokes.
I mean, I only just found out that Todd Phillips was directing this, which means, well, I think it's going to be more serious in tone, definitely. Now, here's the thing about Todd Phillips, if you guys didn't know this. He's known for Old School, The Hangover, Starsky and Hutch, and Due Date, and all of those Hangover movies and stuff. But you've got to understand is the type of director Todd Phillips has always wanted to be is like the next Martin Scorsese. He did those movies to pay the bills and to go, okay, this is my film school. And then he did War Dogs. And if you look at War Dogs, that's filmed very much in the style of Martin Scorsese. And what did he do next? He went and did Joker. And Joker is a very, very, very much in the style of Martin Scorsese, with films like The King of Comedy and Taxi Driver. So that's what that he's not going back to comedy anytime soon after Joker. Because that's too easy for him. I feel this is exactly the kind of project that would fit him as a director. And definitely to get all the stuff Ken's after. I think once I found out that it was Todd Phillips, it's not a WWE production, mate.
Yeah.
And he may have done those Hangover films and whatnot, but they're in his rearview mirror because he has no intention of going back, especially after Joker. You know what I mean?
I think that's just it. Joker was a complete game changer.
Exactly. And on top of that, like both him and Adam McKay, both comedy directors renowned for that. They've both said they're huge Martin Scorsese fans. If you look at what Adam McKay is doing now, he's doing like stuff like The Big Short, and I think he did Vice. I'm not too sure. I think he did Vice. But
I think you're right, actually.
Don't quote me on that. But if he did do Vice, then that just goes to show that he's like committing to his word that comedy's in his rearview mirror. Sorry, Will Ferrell.
He did do Vice.
Yeah, he did do Vice.
Yeah.
Because like him and Will Ferrell, they split up their partnership in comedy because Adam McKay is going this serious route now with his career kind of thing. So that's why we haven't seen that many Will Ferrell team-ups recently.
I think they did produce Hustlers together, though.
Yeah, I think they did, yeah. But it's very much with Todd Phillips. I think we're going to get everything you wanted, Ken. You know what I mean? In a very kind of Scorsese kind of taxi driver
it
way.
all depends on where they want to finish the story. So, you know, if they start early, you know, they could do it sort of as up and coming because he was in AWA and New Japan Pro Wrestling and stuff like that before he even joined WWE. Then it's going to be about his relationship with Vince McMahon. So I think that is going to be a key casting and then depending on where they want to finish, you could have the build of Hulkamania is more of a montage, you know, of him like signing autographs, making appearances and doing all that kind of stuff. You don't have to focus on that too much. You could do the climax at WrestleMania 1, Madison Square Garden, and, you know, the fact that he was with Mr. T and everything there. You know, does it then end with Andre the Giant at WrestleMania 3, I think it was, where he slammed him? Is it where he actually leaves WWE and goes to AEW? Are they going to cover that part where he goes to a different company and you have that fallout of the Clash? Or do they finish it on like his, you know, induction to the, you know, Hall of Fame or something like that? An even bigger one could be when he comes back, you know, and this might work in terms of the climax, but when he comes back to WWE, NWO, and then he has that huge WrestleMania match with The Rock. That could be the climax because he loses that match, but it's like that passing of the torch to The Rock and that franchise. And that was such a huge thing. That could be, for me, that's where I probably want to have the climax of the movie. But there's just so much there. They're going to need to do some montage and speed things up to get to a point, unless they literally start it off as him at like WrestleMania 1 or WrestleMania 3. Hulkamania is already a thing, and then do some slight bits and flashbacks of his memories and stuff like that to push the narrative forward. But yeah, it all depends on the start and end point.
This is the thing, though. I mean, he's a character that has had a very lived-in life. You know what I mean? Like, on one side, there's some Thunder in Paradise, and the other side you've got some Hogan Knows Best. And I just think,
this whole family.
You know what would be interesting? Hello?
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 Oh, you're still there, mate.
Oh, there we go. I can hear you.
Oh, he's frozen.
There we go.
Frozen.
I froze. Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Back in the room.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
Yes.
back in the room now.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't know, man. I mean, I don't really know much about the racism controversy. I knew that's why he got his Hall of Fame stripped down, etc. But was he actually a racist, or has he like apologized for what he said?
He's tried to apologize, but he made some very not clever comments about being an experience and referencing to people and how he described them and stuff like that. So yeah, it wasn't great, and it happened more than once. And then his wife did some stuff as well online, and so it just wasn't very tasteful. So I mean, there was a big period where he was removed. But like I said, they have just kind of reintroduced him a little bit, and he's doing a few guest spots. I think it was maybe not this WrestleMania, but the last one he did kind of a joint opening bit. And he just kind of does these little bits. And the main reason they actually bring him in now is for like the Saudi shows. So when they do the wrestle events in Saudi Arabia, it's a big thing for them because they want the old superstars there, like the Undertaker, Triple H, Hogan, and that brings in their money. And that's where a lot of WWE's money is coming from now, from shows and stuff like that. But yeah, he's not relevant in a sense, but he pretty much made wrestling what it is today.
Do you think there's a redemption story in there?
Unfortunately, not.
No. Okay.
The only redemption part I can see, I'm not an expert, but I think the only redemption part is where he left WWE, had the big fallout with Vince McMahon, went to AEW, did all those things, and then came back to WWE. That is probably where the redemption point finishes for him, because then it kind of tails off and he drifts in and out, and the less said about him, the better now, to be honest. A lot of people don't want to talk about him that much. So that is probably the redemption part. So it might be where the climax is of the movie. He repairs his relationship with Vince McMahon and actually just does his comeback to WWE, come through the curtain, everyone cheering his name again, and everybody loving the fact that he's come back home, to WWE. So that is potentially where another point of the climax of the movie could happen.
It is possible that there could be something we don't know about, like he maybe had a steroid addiction or something, and maybe had to battle against that. Just completely guessing, but they could throw something.
Yeah, I mean, there is definitely rumors about that and that's why there's a fallout with Vince McMahon, because he was he testified against him in the court battle regarding steroids being used in the company. And he said, yeah, people are using and stuff like that, but he said he wasn't, but there was rumors that he was. So it might be something they touch on in the movie. And again, it depends if they actually consult Hogan on this. Like, do they talk to him? Do they actually get some true stories from him and stuff like that? So it'd be interesting to see.
Interesting. Okay. Moving on. Donnie Yen has confirmed that Sleeping Dogs is his next project and is on the card. Am I the only one here that's played this video game?
I definitely haven't.
I think I played the demo, but again, isn't that like 10 years old?
Yeah, it's about 10 years old. Fantastic game, though. Fantastic game. It's kind of like GTA, but set in Hong Kong. Really, really good game. Donnie Yen would be great as that character. I think interesting to see how a game IP would grow from that game, from this movie. I think he's the right guy for the job. And considering it's like his first film where they're looking to market it more towards West, I think it has a unique kind of thing to bring him to the A-list if done correctly. Doesn't necessarily have to follow the video game by any means, but then you're more or less doing it by having him as the lead, like kicking ass. So, I mean, the storyline's kind of loosely based, so they can take it anywhere for an audience. And yeah, I'm in. And plus, it's Donnie Yen, man. I'm sorry, man. He should be in more films, man. He should be in more films. He should be an A-lister in Hollywood, man. I don't understand why he has not made the transition. And yeah. And by the way, when he showed up in Star Wars Rogue One, I was just like, yes, Star Wars and Donnie Yen. I'm so excited. So, yeah.
Can I just say, right, Rogue One was good. I mean, it was good. I was excited the moment it was announced that he was in it. Watching it, I wasn't so impressed because there were scenes where you could see he had doubles unnecessarily. It's just like they edited it, but once he left the set, they added more to do it and made it slower.
Yeah.
And it's a shame that it had to be Vin Diesel that had to bring him back to the big screen. Triple X.
With Triple X, yeah.
But that's Vin Diesel. No, he didn't just bring him. He brought Tony Jaa as well, and it's it was like a dream team cast, but in a Vin Diesel film.
You were thinking when you saw that poster of Tony Jaa and Donnie Yen for that Triple X, you were like, oh, it's on now. They're gonna. What upset me with that film? The fact that Tony Jaa was just the side guy. Kenan could have played him. I mean, like, what the hell, man? How do you underuse?
I'll take that as a compliment.
But you know what it is. But you know what it is. It's kind of like Tony Jaa never really intended to get as famous and as big as he is on one movie. You know what I mean? He was just a guy that was like, yeah, sure, I'll do a movie, and did a movie, and then all of a sudden,
he's humble.
Fortune was just totally. So he's rich enough in his own country to chill and do stuff with his friends, and now he only really takes jobs just to pay bills or just to get the wealth up. He doesn't really care what kind of role it is.
But
so
in America, like he did SPL3, I can't remember what it's called, but he did a very good. He's not in the whole film, but there's one where Sammo Hung's done the fight scenes. I can't remember the name of it now, but it's part of a trilogy. And he's still very good. He still has he's still an amazing fighter on screen.
Oh yeah, totally.
His moves are very slick. But it's just that with say Triple X is like He was just there because he was doing Vin Diesel a favor, because he did, he was pretty good in that Fast and Furious when he was fighting Paul Walker. Yeah. And Paul Walker beat him somehow.
Oh man, dude, that upset me. That upset me. How? Look, I get it. Man died in a car crash. It's his show because it's the Fast and Furious. But for every martial artist fan that's a fan of like these martial arts heroes, to have fucking Tony Jaa get murked by fucking
with a fire hose
Walker was heartbreaking for me. Yeah. Oh my god, yeah. What the hell was with that, man? I was just like, oh my god, man, what are you doing? What are you doing? Oh my god, I'm getting angry over it, man. It's just like the disrespect. You know what? That's
I think Vin Diesel felt that now. I think that's why he brought him back. Is like, oh no, I need to do something else. But then it's like, there's no space for you now. Because he got everyone on Twitter just went, yo, Vinny, what the fuck? What the fuck? You got, we get it. You love Paul Walker, but you can't have him get murked by. You can't have fucking Tony Jaa get murked off by Paul Walker. Well, are you crazy? Are you fucking crazy? Yeah. But those scenes though, I've watched them again and again, and even in those few minutes, Tony Jaa still has the moves. Like, he does a bit of parkour in it, but he's still got it. He's still flexible. But yeah, as for Donnie, I think Donnie's, he's must be 50 something now, and he's still healthier than the average 30-year-old.
I know,
still
right?
Faster and stronger. So I think,
I mean, in terms of Sleeping Dogs, again, I haven't played the game, so I don't know how much martial arts there are in the movie. But it could be a great American franchise. It could spin a couple of sequels. He's got an opportunity now, like he's in Mulan, which should have already been out.
Yeah.
So Donnie Yen's going to be in that, and that that along with Star Wars could give a really good platform for him for that movie to be successful. So fingers crossed for him, man, because I love the guy.
Same.
Okay, next up. Jude Law is to play Captain Hook for Disney's live-action Peter Pan. Another Peter Pan.
Every 5 years.
The Disney version. Every 5 years, yeah. Wasn't oh man, I've forgotten the name of the guy.
You had Jason Isaac.
There we go, Jason Isaac.
He was phenomenal.
That was like. When
15,
was that?
I imagine it. 15 years ago.
Hook was like my favorite film back then.
That was 2003, Peter Pan.
17.
And then you had Pan in 2015.
And none of them was as good as Dustin Hoffman. I'm just saying.
And nothing's as good as Hook. Nowhere near as good as Hook.
Hook.
Hook was the best one ever.
Peter Pan, I suppose it is a story that can be retold. It is something that everybody knows, though, and it's, different characters. I didn't see either of those Peter Pan movies because for me, it's a character I know, and I guess it's those are the films where the villain is actually more important than Peter Pan's casting, because Peter Pan is supposed to be so young in it, and that's what I think that Hooked worked so well, because it was that older one, and so you actually had a good balance between Peter Pan and Hook because they were the same age, and it just worked. But yeah, I can't say I'm excited about this as a franchise. Franchise, but just as a remake.
I think Jude Law's just bored now, and after Captain Marvel, which was really good in, now he's just passing the time until he gets that meaty role again. I think now, so this is probably just like, okay, I'll do it. Maybe my kids and grandkids will like it, but yeah.
I just don't know what Jude Law's done with his career. I'll be perfectly honest.
Sure,
Captain Marvel's okay.
He was amazing in Road to Perdition, okay? And then I don't know what the hell he did since then, but he's just not made
Sherlock Holmes, man. Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, but even that was all right. It was okay. I did love him in The Holiday, but that's absolutely not a meaty Hollywood film. But I don't know. He's kind of giving it away, I guess.
I actually kind of forgotten all about him actually being in Captain Marvel, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what.
I'm gonna shows like The Pope or something like that as well.
Yeah. I'm gonna drop a film which I really wish became a franchise, but I totally get it. No one liked it. No one saw it. But I'm a big fan of Sky Captain and The World of Tomorrow. I'm gonna drop that one. Yes.
No, Sacha.
You know what I liked about it? I liked that aesthetic, the 1940s aesthetic of it. I liked the fact that he was kind of like an Indiana Jones type, and it was like the kind of movie made from yesteryear and stuff. I really dug it because those are the kind of stuff I grew up as a kid. So watching that was like, I thought it was going to be the next big thing, and it totally wasn't. But you know what? I'll take that. If that's a bad movie, I'll take that as my bad movie. I think it's a good, damn good bad movie at that. My personal dream would be to direct a Superman movie, 1940s-esque, not even a movie, a short film, like set with that original Superman kind of aesthetic of the 1930s and 40s. No one would want to see that but me, but fuck it.
I would want to see it.
If I had a budget, that's what I'd do. Have them fight giant robots and shit. But yeah, I've totally taken a tangent. What were we talking about? Jude Law, Jude Law, Captain Hook. Well,
Jude Law and his questionable career.
He's waiting for Sherlock Holmes 3, I bet.
Of course, man. He's finding the time, man, because Downey Jr. has been doing all those Iron Man movies and stuff. Yeah. Jude Law needs work.
Well, in terms of this movie, there's actually they got casting calls up. So for Wendy and Peter, they're looking. Wendy is between 10 and 15 years old, and Peter Pan 11 to 14. So you can actually go to projectcasting.com and actually register to for the casting of the movie. So they're obviously looking at unknowns for this.
Okay,
that's cool.
Yeah, so that's going to be interesting. For me, I think I would have gone for Gary Oldman for Hook personally.
Yes.
True. Yeah.
That's what I would like to see. Yeah, but in terms of who's going to play Peter, no clue. The argument could be I suppose if you're going for that young Disney audience, you could cast someone quite young. If you want to go for more of a generic audience, Tom Holland could play 12. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. He could, and you could have him as Peter Pan, and that could actually work, But hey,
we don't have no Haley Joel Osmonds out there, so.
Oh God, yeah. I just thought of another one as well. He actually was amazing in The Talented Mr. Ripley. I take that back. That was an amazing film.
Yeah.
But yeah, I somewhat expect this is going to be like an out-and-out Disney production of like over-the-topness. And that's probably why they picked him, because he probably did just want to do a film that's suitable for his kids.
I mean, wasn't he in Fantastic Beasts and stuff like that? I mean, I haven't even watched it.
Yeah, he's like, he played Dumbledore, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is me saying it as a
he was actually very good.
Fan.
I tell you, I actually really enjoyed him in Spy. I thought he was quite funny in Spy.
Yeah. Oh my God, everyone's on fire in that movie, man. Yeah. Jason Statham should play more comedy like that. He was amazing. He stole the show every minute of that movie. Jason Statham just stolen.
That is a film they should do a sequel of, Spy.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But Paul Feig is like too busy trying to say why his Ghostbusters is great, but moving along. Okay, so J.J. Abrams' Bad Robot, they're obviously doing stuff at Warner Brothers. Turns out they're doing a Justice League Dark series for HBO Max. But within this dark shit, he's producing a Constantine reboot, a Constantine movie reboot. How do we feel about the return of John Constantine? I asked two things. This is the third time. Last time with the TV show, you were halfway there, and that guy was perfect, okay? I want a British actor, okay, an English actor. I want him to be in London. I want it to be a British film, because that's what Hellblazers is. Hellblazers is the name of the comic book, and that's what made it unique. I personally don't like the fact that that DC have put John Constantine and put him with Batman and Superman and all of these mans, and I don't care for that. John Constantine kicked ass in England, and that's where he belongs. But I'm not going to get that. I'm going to get some connected universe bollocks, which I don't want. And he's not going to be going to places like Watford and Harrow and places I've actually heard of in real life. He's probably going to go to New Orleans, or I don't know, like some other fucking place, Kansas or wherever.
Baton Rouge.
Yeah. And yeah, that you know what? Like I like the Keanu Reeves movie because like it kind of did its own thing. I like Keanu Reeves. And then we got the TV show, and Matt Ryan is perfect in the role. That's the actor from the TV show. He's perfect in the role. In fact, he's like the perfect Constantine. Like if you were to get anyone that looked and sounded and was the essence of him, it's him. But my problem with the show was right guy, wrong setting, because they're still trying to cater to an American audience. Constantine, I think needs to be low budget and British, because that's what it was written. That's what the books are. The books are amazing. Follow the fucking books. Don't fucking have him team up with Kal-El. Who the hell is Kal-El, man? He's not from England. He's not from London. Get the fuck out, Kal-El. You're not even supposed to be here. Oh man, it angers me so much. That
I'll tell you who I'd cast.
Who?
Tom Hiddleston.
Yes.
I thought you were going to say Tom Holland again.
No. You know what? Yes, I agree with you.
Tom Hiddleston, because he's pretty much done with Disney now. He can go off and make this his own franchise, his own set of films. I think he could play that spot on.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my rant. That's my Hellblazers rant.
Yeah. Or even one other person I had in mind was Daniel Craig. But I think Tom will do a better job.
You need like someone who's dark and brooding, and I think Hiddleston does that better.
Yeah, and also like Hiddleston will have the humor down. I mean, what
about Dan Stevens?
Yeah, Dan Stevens would be good.
Yeah,
Dan Stevens would be good. But then
you could go completely different. Here you go, Luther. Have Idris Elba.
Love it.
Idris Elba is Constantine.
Okay, so
Idris Elba has everything.
Idris Elba is everything. Awesome is whatever you want.
He'll do Peter Pan as well for you. It's fine.
Oh man, so Brad Pitt is to join John Wick director David Leitch for Bullet Train, an action movie called Bullet Train. It's literally about two snipers. They've got to take each other out on a train. It's by Sony, and it looks like it's going to be a generic action flick. Brad Pitt in action movies. How do you guys feel about it?
Sounds good to me. It was only a matter of time. Yeah, I can't remember the last time he's actually done a full-on action one, but it sounds good to me. David Leitch, I'm guessing it could be his martial arts team that he worked with. It's at 8711. And yeah, so there could be lots of jiu-jitsu, mixed martial art moves and throwdowns, same as you see in John Wick, on a train, but better than Under Siege 2. I could see it, and it's good to see Brad Pitt doing action now. It's about time.
Yeah. I mean, like they worked together on Deadpool 2, even though Brad Pitt was there for like a couple of hours. Yeah. But you know what? Did David Leitch direct Hobbs and Shaw?
I think so.
You know what? Yeah.
Because there are two John Wick directors, weren't there, in the first one?
Yeah, there's two, but that one's the one that's gone off and done Atomic Blonde and Deadpool 2 and Hobbs and Shaw, and now this film. So after he's done with Matrix, because that's what he's doing now, he's not directing it. He's gone back to his old job title of stunt coordinator on those films with the other guy. They've both taken time out of directing their John Wick franchise and stuff to go work on the new Matrix. Once they've done that, this is his next project out the gates. I think here's the thing. Hobbs and Shaw, man. All right, Ken, I know you're not into Fast and Furious and stuff, but fuck all the Fast and Furious. Just watch Hobbs and Shaw. You're in for a treat.
Dude, we watched it together.
Did you watch it with me?
Yes.
Why do I think I never saw this movie with you?
We saw it in the cinema together, bruv.
I'm thinking of Richard, aren't I?
Yeah, you must be.
I'm thinking of Richard. Yeah. Seriously, I love that movie.
That film was jokes.
I have to say, it worked as a comedy, but the problem is the action was like something out of Transformers. Like Idris Elba's motorbike that finds him and it goes under lorries and it just has to be where he is. Idris Elba with his battery pack in his back and talk, then you find out he's a cyborg, he's not even human or something. The story was just, it did not belong with the Fast
and Furious. Like The Rock holding the helicopter and shit like together.
Sometimes though, you just want a film that's going to all out and out be all about that actor or those actors.
Yeah, it was just jokes, and the
And I'm
chemistry between them was great.
Yeah.
And the
You know what?
Fanatic was
You
brilliant.
guys are right. I don't think I've ever seen Brad Pitt in that kind of role.
No,
I
he's
think
never done
it's-
it.
I think it's long overdue.
Yeah,
His
it's
most
long overdue.
action-packed role, if I'm not mistaken, was Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
I was going to say it's
He
probably
did the
closest.
tank one.
Yeah.
He did the tank one, War Machine, or no, I can't remember. The one where he's in a tank, the Fury. He did
Fury, yeah. But that
Inglourious-
was so physically, like, combative.
True. He did Inglourious Bastards, but again, yeah, they're not full on like,
They're not full on action pictures. I mean, yeah. You know what though? They were talking about a Gambit movie for ages. He's actually my first pick for well, he's probably too old for it now, but he would have been my choice for Gambit way back in the
I
day.
can see why.
If they were actually gonna seriously take an A-lister for Gambit, him over Channing Tatum any day, kind of thing. Even now, because the guy still, even though he's an older gentleman, the guy still looks. I don't know what voodoo magic that guy's breathing. He's still looking like young now, man.
Yeah, I mean Brad Pitt, he's 56 at the moment.
Yeah, if they were to do Gambit, they need to churn out all those roles against blue screen then.
He's done a few action roles. He did World War Z. That was kind of actiony.
Lord, yeah.
I didn't like that.
So shit compared to the book.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he did Troy. Which was, there's some elements to that. Snatch. He was quite physical in that.
brilliant. Yeah.
But yeah,
Fight Club.
Fight Club. I want to see. I want to see him, and then I want the other sniper to be George Clooney.
Oh yes.
Because I think George Clooney as that action guy, he did a little bit. There was a movie called American.
It's the Hitman one, yeah, that was good.
Hitman one. I can't.
Yeah,
the American,
literally.
I think
It was just the American, yeah.
I would like to see him and Brad Pitt. They'd be the two snipers because they would have that. What I want them to be able to do is be able to talk to each other via an earpiece. And they'd be having that conversation. It'd be pretty much like this whole thing where I'm going to take you out, I'm going to take you out, and just having like a conversational piece, and then the action ramps up. So that'd be my casting choice to go against him.
Those two are very much like a dream team, and it's. I wish they've done more over the years.
Yeah,
I think that's due to.
Get Leo as the action star, man.
I think that's due to them falling out.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
I mean,
they had a
from
fallout
what
a
I
few years
understand,
back.
they're obviously like best mates in real life, but they'd like to do separate things, which I totally get. But I think the two of them together are just dynamite. Like they actually have such
totally.
natural chemistry.
Especially when you watch Ocean's 11.
I must admit,
Yeah.
I did not. I'm probably the only one in the world, but I did not like those films, or especially the first one. I didn't like the first one because what was missing was the action. But then that's what this film could deliver if they were both reunited in it.
That's what I'm thinking. It's that reunite of that, either that, or it'd be a case of I don't know, someone like John Travolta or something like that. But
Yeah, that's not going to happen anytime soon.
now it's not going to.
No.
Yeah.
You know what? It's really weird because I was just thinking about John Travolta like the other day. To be honest, he's actually one of my favorite movie stars of all time, like hands down. Pulp Fiction, Get Shorty are two of my favorite films. His role as Chili Palmer in Get Shorty is like my go-to Travolta. That's like my favorite role. Him in a movie.
Face Off.
It always had Face Off, Broken Arrow.
Yeah, Face Off.
Yeah.
Broken
Have you seen him in
Arrow.
the trailer
God,
for Die Hard, the Kevin Smith?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen
Yeah,
that. That looked
he looks
really
like-
fun. Yeah.
He looks like from Paris with Love in that. He's got.
Oh
Paris
yeah.
with
Oh,
Love
that's
fight.
another good film
Yeah.
of his.
Yeah.
But you know what? After his son died, like there was a thing he wanted to quit Hollywood full stop and just concentrate on his family. And like I was just thinking the other day, like we need a Travolta comeback, man. And then this unfortunate thing happened to Kelly Preston, and I'm just like,
It
wow.
might Die Hard might be it, because I'm not sure if it's a movie or a series.
It's a movie. Is it a movie platform series?
It seems like
It's
a
on
movie.
Quibi, isn't it?
It's on
Quibi, sorry,
Quibi,
yeah.
yeah.
It's on the Quibi platform. I think it is a short film, if I do believe so, because Quibi is kind of designed for short filmmaking kind of thing, like short bites kind of thing. So I'm not too sure. I haven't really looked up too much into it.
Oh, it's actually a TV
myself,
series.
Oh, is it a TV series?
Yeah.
Short episodes. Yeah.
Oh, well, okay.
So we'll get some more Travolta than we thought, maybe.
I think Travolta's still got it. I still watch his bad films. He did a bad film recently called The Fanatic, where he plays a
How bad is that? I hear that's room level bad.
Yeah, it's a guilty pleasure. It is really bad, but you know, Travolta can. He's just eyes closed, just doing a role. Fred Durst directed it. He's like, okay, let's try this. Let's help Fred Durst. Didn't work.
I mean, this is a man that can do like the depths of Saturday Night Fever.
Yeah, still.
And Face Off. And then do Hairspray, which is also amazing.
That was a comeback. Yeah, absolutely.
He was amazing in that.
I think Tarantino just has to get together with him, and they need to work on the perfect script and do the comeback when Travolta's ready.
And I think, actually interesting. Die Hard was actually the role that John Travolta plays was actually written for Bruce Willis. He didn't actually get or want to be involved in the concept of Quibi in terms of these short episode kind of things. So he turned it down, and they got Travolta in.
Willis is meant to be very miserable and difficult to work with now.
Yeah, he's very strange. Actually, he's on TikTok now and makes some weird videos.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? You hear different things about Bruce Willis, but what I've kind of gathered is it's kind of like if you're a first-time director and a writer and an actual creator, he will give you his 100% best to get your vision on screen.
Yeah.
But if it's a studio movie where it's just studio execs just going, hey, you know, he doesn't give a fuck, if that makes sense. If he smells an inkling, the filmmaker, it's hired hand people doing hired hand shit. He doesn't care about that stuff. He's very much about independent films and that kind of thing. This is why Kevin Smith had a bad time with him, because unfortunately that project was that was like a blockbuster, and it wasn't something that Bruce Willis wanted to be in, but was kind of contractually obliged to. I butchered that word, but you know what I'm saying. Obliged to be in. And do you know what I mean? He didn't give a fuck. And unfortunately, those are the only roles that are handed to him now, because I think not a lot of people are offering him the roles anymore. But if you hear directors like Rian Johnson, Quentin Tarantino, Robert Rodriguez, talk about working with Bruce Willis, you'll find out that with Pulp Fiction, Bruce Willis was a big fan of making sure the dialogue matched the script because he loved the script so much. When it came to Sin City, there was a lot of pullback on that movie from Harvey Weinstein. Bruce Willis was like, no, let him do it the way he wants it to. Do you know what I mean? So it depends which Bruce Willis you get and what kind of project it is, if that makes sense. And I do think with a lot of these Hollywood celebrities, they do get a lot of stuff like said about them through the tabloids, or they're labeled a certain thing one day. But everyone has a bad day. And he had a really bad press tour, and most Hollywood people don't like doing press tours, you know what I mean? It's the same question with people, and you get the odd person trying to antagonize them and stuff. And, he did a press tour, I think it was Red 2, and he just had a baby daughter or something like that. He just had a kid, and he didn't want to do the press tour, and he wanted to be with his newborn. But do you know what I mean? He was supposed to do the press tour, and he was very honest about how he was feeling. And then next week, the tabloids were, oh, he's, you know what I mean? He's this and that. It's like, well, no, he's got other, he's like any other,
he's a
like
father,
any other, but like any other human being, he has like different priorities. And fair enough, those priorities don't match up what the audience is, what perception of him and what they should be. But I think, do you know what I mean? There's a reason why people turn down projects and stuff, because it is a big commitment. And Quibi as well, if I was Bruce Willis, especially where his career's at now, I'd be dubious about it, because if you research it, it's kind of like a hit or miss risky thing. You know what I mean?
And probably the concept, the fact that it was Die Hard, maybe it's just a little bit, he was like, you know what, you're taking the piss.
Mocking himself and his own franchise.
Exactly. And he probably wasn't down for, like you said, Ben, like mocking himself, and he's probably like, nah, don't want that.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that. That sounds like bullshit to me. But that's fair enough. I'm just saying what could be the other side. But, I know a lot of people hear the Kevin Smith talking about him and go, well, if Kevin Smith said so, it must be true. And it probably is true, because there are a lot of other filmmakers that back that side of him. But then at the same time, you've got other filmmakers that don't do studio movies, you know what I mean, that work on proper independent films where they're lower budget or first-time directors, where
Yeah.
think of Bruce Willis, he's the most intimidating motherfucker on the planet. But at the same time, you hear he's like, actually, hey, buddy, it's okay. Whatever you want me to do, I will do it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that just shows professionalism. It's kind of like Tim Burton with Batman. Tim Burton, one of the reasons why he wanted to do Batman Returns was because, bringing it back again, was that he was so intimidated by Jack Palance. And Jack Palance, for those that don't know him, he was a big movie star back in the 60s and 70s. He was a cowboy guy. He was the villain in, what was it, Tango and Cash.
Yeah.
And in Batman, he was mob boss Grisham. You know, like, Jack, you're my number one, that guy.
Yeah.
And basically, the start of the shoot, Jack Palance was like, yeah, this is my film. You know what I mean? This is my film, blah, blah, blah. Because he was like Hollywood royalty, and he intimidated Tim Burton, and he used to like mock him in front of the crew and stuff. Then Jack Nicholson joined the cast. Well, he didn't join the cast, but he came in a little later. And when he saw that, Jack Nicholson was like, hey, kid, you're the captain of this crew. Shut up, old man. Like, literally, shut up, old man. You're irrelevant. When was your last Oscar?
Wow,
Like, literally. And he goes, I'm Jack Nicholson. He's the captain of the ship. You shut the fuck up and do as you're told. And Tim Burton had no problem after that, man. There's a story told by Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson, because Jack Nicholson can't stand bullies unless he's doing it himself. But, you know. But,
I respect that a lot.
But yeah, The Old Guard and Atomic Blonde get sequels. Charlize Theron was promoting The Old Guard, and they're, talking about these two projects that could potentially get sequels. Atomic Blonde looks like David Leitch again. Has got the script going for that, and that looks like a for sure thing. How do you guys feel of either of these getting sequels? I haven't seen The Old Guard yet, so I can't really speak about that, but the trailer looked good for that movie.
Yeah, I mean, Charlize Theron, you can't really go wrong. You know, hugely talented actress. I love pretty much everything that she's in. It's nice to see her doing like these action roles now and stuff like that. And she's
except for Neon Flux.
And
yeah. Oh, I tried to forget about that one.
You're not going to get hit every time. You know, and she was actually disappointed she's not getting the spin-off from Mad Max and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, but yeah, I mean, like I said, The Old Guard I haven't seen yet. I do want to watch it because that second trailer kind of sold it. Atomic Blonde was really good. So yeah, more credit to her, you know. She's a powerhouse now.
I haven't seen The Old Guard either, but I think Atomic Blonde, I think she was amazing in it. I think the soundtrack was blinding, but I didn't particularly love the film. The action was fantastic, but the actual story, maybe I was just completely not in the mood that day, I don't know, but it was kind of lost on me. And by the end of the film, I was a little bit like, okay, I don't really know what the hell I've just watched, but I enjoyed it. Okay.
It's funny you say that because, every time I watch Atomic Blonde, I never pay attention to the story, the plot, but the action's brilliant, the timing, the soundtrack, as you said, it's all good. But I just I don't really care who she is, who she's working for, who she's reporting to. It's just the fact that she looks amazing in it, she moves well. And that's the thing.
She pretty much most of the fighting herself as well, hardly any stunt doubles.
Yeah,
apparently she trained together with Keanu while he was training for John Wick. But
really?
But because it's the same stunt team doing all the action work. But the good thing is,
I mean, she's going to be back in the next Fast and Furious, I think, as well. I mean,
she is sci-fi.
You know, and she flips. You know, she can do that, and then she done Bombshell, which she was fantastic in. And then
that was a really
Long
good
Shot,
film.
which I thought was really funny. I really like Long Shot with Seth Rogen.
Oh, that was good.
Yeah, that's good.
She can do whatever she wants, man. She's a chameleon.
She's a hardworking actress. She's an actress of a generation. You know, she's done mostly good films, and that's all. God, really good. It's good, but it's kind of film. I'm glad I saw it on Netflix. If I went to the cinema, I'd wanted more. But without giving any spoilers away, you can see why there's a good need for part 2. You can see why, and if that comes again on Netflix, fine. It could be even better, even though this one was really good. So, she can do no wrong. If there's sequels in place and they've got the right, not necessarily the story, but if she looks good in it and the pace is fine, why not?
Yeah, all power to her.
Exactly.
Last project of the last one of the day. Tron 3. Disney are ready to expand the universe on Disney Plus. They want Joseph Kosinski back in the director's seat if he wants to come back. He directed Tron Legacy and most currently Top Gun Maverick. Jared Leto has been rumored to be involved in this project. How do we guys feel about Jared Leto entering the Tron universe, Tron being on Disney Plus, and just Tron in general?
Tron for me is like a huge thing. Tron Legacy is something I'm absolutely obsessed with. I must have seen that film about 35 times. Like, absolutely love it. The soundtrack, Daft Punk, just smashed it for me.
Oh, they better come back. I'm sorry.
100%,
they have to. Because you know what? For all that film's shortcomings, and I acknowledge them, that film's a guilty pleasure of mine. That's one of my favorite films in the past 10 years. And it is quite possibly the greatest music video I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Because you know what? Fuck it. Just switch off the dialogue and just have it on music play. And it's just an amazing piece of cinema just for that. And
Agreed.
I just think John, Joe, I've forgotten his name now, but the director of that, he was a fan of the original film, and he did a short film that blew the minds of the Disney executives, and they literally got Jeff Bridges involved, got him to superimpose his head as Clue, and just literally take that to the next level. And I just think it's the perfect complementary piece to Tron, because Tron is such a classic. I felt it was a good way to reinvigorate the series and move it forward with a new generation. I was gutted when they didn't do a third one, because what killed Tron 3 was Star Wars. Because what you've got to understand, Disney as a studio, since the 2000s, since George Lucas started doing episodes 1, 2, and 3, they were looking for their Star Wars. Even back in the 80s, they were always trying to look for their version of Star Wars. By the 2000s, that's why they did stuff like John Carter of Mars. That's why they did Tron Legacy, because they were trying to build franchises that were like Star Wars. And they even dabbled in Flash Gordon, and that just got canned pretty quick, because they were around 2011 or 2009, they were looking at Flash Gordon, and then Star Wars was up for sale, and then they did what they did, and then they stopped all production on all these big movies because they wanted the Star Wars money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they got what they bargained for. Disney Plus has opened a new wave of content and stuff for them, and it's also given them a chance to experiment and take chances with.
But I think this is the thing, Tron Legacy was what we needed Tron to be at the time.
Oh yeah, totally.
And I think I'm hoping Tron 3 will be what we need it, and I can expect it to be now. The technology's advanced, the storytelling should have advanced, everything should have kind of elevated to the next level. And I'm just very, very excited for someone who normally loves real cinema and the Christopher Nolan style, no special effects if you can avoid it style of cinema.
Yeah.
I fucking love Tron because it's like a whole opera in neon 80s shit, but actually done in a cool way that is like a video game, but one you can totally get submerged in. And I love what they did in Tron Legacy. I love the way that it was 2D and then it turned 3D when he got sucked into the game. All of that was a really smart use of the technology at the time, being that 3D had just come about as well. And I'm just excited. I'm excited to see what they do with this. And I think Jared Leto will add something to it that will be quite dark, which I
hope it's not a reboot and they keep the same cast. I mean, personally, for me, I really, really want Jeff Bridges to make a cameo of some kind, because I just don't think it's
Garrett Hedlund and all that.
Yeah, and even the guy that's from Babylon 5 that played Tron in the original movie. I hope he makes a return as well. Well, you can't have him not be in it because the damn thing's called Tron. He is Tron.
I mean, what do you think about what's his name? Garrett Hedlund coming back? Do you think he's relevant enough now to come back, or do we need to cast somebody else in that role?
I mean, I don't know if he was relevant at the time to begin with, but he did a good job, and I remember him just because of that film. I don't think I've seen him in anything else.
Yeah, no, Four Brothers.
Okay.
And that Pan we talked about earlier with
he did Pan. I think he did Triple Frontier, I think, as well. He was in that.
Yeah. I mean, he's just not had like the biggest break. You know, again, he just never became a movie star. But at the same time, that makes him cheaper for the Disney Plus format. It depends which way Disney want to market this. Really, if they want to base it on the legacy, pun intended, of the franchise and the brand, then they should do a Star Wars and continue it on with him. And if they want to bring an A-lister, sure, have that A-lister be a villain or someone that teams up with him, or do you know what I mean? But then that's why Jared Leto is more marketable, because he is an A-lister, you know, and that's probably why they've cast him in there.
Maybe he'll take over the Jeff Bridges role in a sense, and but have Bridges in it, and just kind of have that maybe as something like a transition or something like that, because
no one can take over Bridges.
Yeah, because Jared Leto has been like screwed over by Warner Brothers, and I think Disney are like, hey, come over here, we'll treat you right.
Yeah.
At the same time, as much as I'd like to see Jeff Bridges, I really do feel, and this is where I'm going against like how I feel about Luke Skywalker, I really feel that they did a good job in giving him closure to his character and his ending in that film. So, do you know what I mean? It's not like Star Wars where the expectation was so high on a character that everyone was so beloved of. It's a kind of different kind of thing there. Do you know what I mean? Because this was the second movie showing a new generation rather than a trilogy of stuff. And
they'd already kind of passed the torch. That was the point of the film.
Yeah. So,
I know what you mean, yeah.
So yeah, it's a different kettle of fish, really. I felt they did a very good job with Legacy on doing that and bringing the character back to a whole, because he had to make a sacrifice for his son at the end there. Spoilers. But, you know what I mean? It's 10 years. You guys should have seen it.
I mean, unless Jared Leto plays an older version of that character, so the character Jared played. So, maybe an older version of him.
Yeah, that's possible.
But yeah. Oh, you mean recast?
No, so in terms of recasting, because we were talking about, would they recast? What was the character's name?
Garrett Hedlund.
Yeah. What was the character's actual name in?
Oh gosh, now you're asking.
There we go. Testing it. There we go. You said you see it 35 times.
I know, but I'm listening to Daft Punk and looking at the colours.
Sam Flynn.
That's it. There we
go.
So,
Sean Flynn. No, Sean Flynn. Sam Flynn.
No, it's Sam.
So could he play an older version of Sam Flynn?
He could.
And then have somebody else as like sort of like a younger character, So maybe that's something they could do with it. But Daft Punk, they've actually spoken to their manager about returning to do it, so they are trying to get them back to do.
Oh, they need to, because I'm sorry, at this point, you can't give us Tron Legacy and then take a step backwards, because that's the first complaint everyone's going to say. They're going to be like, give me some motherfucking Daft Punk, man.
Yeah. I don't think there's ever been a better soundtrack that is suited to the material of a film ever in history than them doing Tron.
Yeah.
It was a no-brainer.
Oh, man. Yeah.
It's exciting.
On that note, we have to bring the podcast to a close. Oh, man. So, where can we find you, Amrita, for the interwebs people that are out there?
Oh, gosh. I don't think I'm on anything. You don't have to give your
details. You don't have
I'm only on Facebook, so if you find me on Facebook, good on you for searching me out.
Ben?
On Instagram, I'm Benji Ninja Vision. And you can find me on Facebook. Good luck.
Oh wait, I am on Insta. That's a lie.
Oh, okay.
At Quirky Turquoise. That's me.
Oh, was that you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's just like, I've been following this person, don't know who they are.
Yeah.
No, but the dude, like, I get, yeah. And Ken?
You can find me on Twitter at Kenan Talks Film. That's Kenan, like Kenan, but it's not Kenan, it's Kenan. Yeah, you'll be able to see new podcasts coming soon, Creative Control from Zedos Gang, which will be launching in a couple of weeks.
Cool. And you guys can find me on Sashman3 on Twitter, and check my short films on YouTube. Just type in Sacha Allari, you'll find it. And also, this podcast has been sponsored by Antstream. If you want to play retro games on the go, or even on your home computer or anything, go check out Antstream. We have old school Amiga games, Commodore 64 games, Spectrum games, and MAME arcade games. Check us out. It's an awesome service, and can you be good to take people off the leaderboards? On that note, this is Zedos Gang, episode 105, signing off.
Go on, do it. Come on.
I am the man that killed Jamie Lannister.